Hello, welcome back, dear ones. Do you want to become your own guru? Are you asking yourself, how can I actually be a lot more self-empowered, and how can I actually have and feel my inner wisdom when I go through my day, when I make decisions, when I'm being faced with challenges, whatever it is? If that's the case, then I have a method for you today, how you can actually enter the state of connecting to your own inner guruism, becoming your own guru and becoming self-empowered. Now, as we progress on our journey to self-awareness and self-empowerment and broadened and expanded consciousness, we usually find teachers along the way or gurus along the way that embody that which we aspire to be, or that speak words that ring true for us and that are motivating or inspiring us to expand and to come closer to the realization of what they have realized, and to come closer to understanding their wisdom or adopting their wisdom. Now, oftentimes, what can happen is that we get stuck in following someone or listening to other people, reading books that they have written, but we don't actually attribute these qualities that they embody, the way they live, into ourselves. We still remain the little self, the perception that we have of ourselves. And we stay in that self-identification of there's little me and I'm reading these wise books and they're amazing, and maybe I'm trying to apply certain things, but I still see myself as the version that I've always seen myself to be, like this little identified version of my conditioning, my social environment, my name, my attributes, and so on and so forth. So in order to actually move on though, and become wise and become self-realized, we need to become bigger. We need to become wiser. We need to expand. And what we do need to expand is our consciousness. The consciousness also includes our perception of ourselves. So we need to actually be willing to question the perception that we have of ourselves. And then we need to adopt the broader or wiser or more true attributes of ourselves, of our beingness, of our true self. And so there are different methods we can use along the way, and not everything works for everyone, but here's something very practical that I want to give to you that you can use to apply and to work with if you want to come closer, or if you actually want to actualize your inner guru and become your own guru. So I invite you now to do this, that whoever your teacher is right now, or your teachers, you might have different teachers that you read and that you follow and that you listen to, and who feel like you want to follow their guidance. Now, this could be somebody who's already passed, like the Buddha or Jesus or somebody, or some saint, or this could also be a person living, like some spiritual teacher that you consume right now, or have been consuming, and that you feel connected to their wisdom, to their approach to life, and that you actually feel safe in following because their teachings seem true for you. So I invite you now to pick one guide, one teacher, one guru that you have, right? And now I invite you to, whenever you have, like the next time you have a situation where you're being faced, let's say, with a decision or a challenge, right? That you ask yourself in that situation, what would such and such, like your guru, your teacher, what would they do in that situation? What would they think? What would influence their decision making? How would they approach this in comparison to you, right? Because if you do this in a situation, there's a decision, and you would kind of go through your own conditioned process. But the conditioned way is the way we want to leave behind, or the way we want to expand and explore and question, because that's the limited point of view, right? So if that's what we want to actually question and expand, we need to be prepared to leave that perspective. So then you adopt the perspective of the guru, of the master, of the teacher that you follow, and you bring them into the decision making. You bring all of their qualities into that. Now, yes, it is only your perception of them, what you interpret into them, right? But that is always what we do all the time anyway. Every person you meet, you don't meet the person. You always just meet the perspective of the person you have, the interpretation of the person you have. Right? It is always just our own view of that person that we interact with. It's never that pure person, because we can't. We can only perceive. And our perception is influenced by our conditionings, by our filters, and there's lots of them, right? By our beliefs and so on and so forth. So that's what we do all the time anyway. So when you bring your teacher in, like your ego mind might say now, yeah, but that's only kind of a version that I'm making up in my mind. It's not really them talking. That is true. But even when they talk, 10 different people might hear 10 different things and interpret it in 10 different ways, depending on the slant they put onto the words according to their filters and according to their perception. Once we know this, we become a lot more flexible, applying imagination, visualization, and so on, because we know everything is imagined and visualized anyway. Everything is perception and perspective anyway, right? So then we might as well start using it in a conscious way, in a way that we want to use it and that we want to progress into that direction. So you bring your teacher, your guru in, and you wonder, you start asking the questions, okay, what would they think? What would they do? How would they react in that situation? What would come up for them? What would not be an issue for them? What do I think they wouldn't have an issue with? If something upsets me or annoys me, and then I get my guru in, and then I think, well, they possibly wouldn't be annoyed. Why not? Why do you think that? And maybe it's true. Maybe they wouldn't get annoyed because they are somewhere else where you want to grow into, right? Or develop into. So what is it they have already achieved that you would like to achieve? Then you have to ask that question. How come they wouldn't get annoyed in my situation if they were me? And they were faced with this situation with their whatever loved one or partner or coworker. How come they would not react the same way that I would? What would they think instead? How would they respond instead? What would be more important to them instead? What are their priorities? What's their way of thinking? What's their approach to this? And by doing that, you're actually tuning into the vibration and energy of that guru, and you're accessing that wisdom, and you're accessing those qualities. And you can go a step further as well. You can then put yourself into that, saying, if I were them right now, and I speak with their words, I speak with their, what would you say, what would you do if you were them? Or what you could also do is another version of this, and you can play around with and see what works for you, what works best for you. You can also invite them into a conversation. So let's say if it's Jesus, or if it's Eckhart Tolle, or if it's whoever, Joe Dispenza, you turn to them, you bring them in, and you turn to them, and you ask, what would you do in this situation? And let them guide you through it. Or ask them, what can I do? Like, or what's your slant or your perspective on this? And allow their wisdom to come through you. Because everything is energy, everything is vibration and frequency. Everything. Everything is that. So when we access the wisdom of somebody else, all it is we're tuning into the energy and frequency of that. And if it's the truth, that would mean that that guru or teacher is connected to the truth, right? And that's where the wisdom comes from. And that's what is going to resonate with you. And so therefore, their truth or the truth and their wisdom can be accessed then by you. You're sort of creating a road or a tunnel or a channel to that. And then all of that can vibrate on the same frequency. And so that is one way that you can access that wisdom. And slowly, you will not need that bridge anymore to any other teaching or teacher and any other guide. Slowly, you will actually gain and acquire those qualities yourself that you have seen in another. So slowly but surely you will turn into your own guru. You will not have to ask anymore, what would that person or teacher do or say or feel? When you're faced with something, it will be automatic that is available to you, that like the higher perspective, the higher version of you is already activated. And that way you will react and respond from that higher version of you. And you will see, if you practice this, I invite you just to try it, experiment it. You don't have to believe anything anyone says. Try it, experiment with it, and see what changes for you. Because I can guarantee you, you will slowly discover those qualities within you. And you begin to embody them. If it's important to you, if this is something you actually want to explore, if this is something that you want to do, otherwise nothing is going to change. But if it's important to you and you actually dedicate yourself to improving and expanding and exploring your belief systems and opening up to higher vibes, higher wisdom, you will see it will be available. It will become available to you because your vibration, your frequency will become a match to that. And your life can transform then. And slowly, slowly, you will become more and more your own guru. Or you will access your own guru inside whichever perspective you wish to take, which feels easier to you or more natural. So explore it, try it, and feel free at some stage when you have explored it and experimented with it to send me feedback, to write to me and let me know how this has impacted you, if this has helped, if this has brought you to more self-empowerment instead of maybe constantly consuming content or reading stuff, but never actually implementing it in your daily life because you keep feeling stuck in your personality and in your belief systems and in your conditionings and in your programmings and in your ID, right? In your identification with the little self. I'm sending you my blessings, and we'll talk again next time if you want to.